true to what you said on paper.
I wish that I could freely dream and be judged from within, hunted by a power that cannot see past my skin. My views are viewed as ignorant.
Well, welcome back to At the Round Table with me. I'm your host, Larry Olsen, in studio with the rest of the family. To my right, all tanned up. Helen's all tanned up. Good morning, Helen.
We're collecting our summer tans.
Dr. Bradley's all tanned up.
Hey, listen, brother, I was born.
Well, you
can tell. Look.
But now Dr. Bradley is two-tone. Because he didn't use the copper tone.
It's that Caribbean tan.
You can always lift your arms up. You know, you can tell.
Caribbean tan.
And Brother Rhodes, as if your head isn't shiny enough, you come in here with your ski sunglasses on. Like you turn over here. When you turn over here to me, I'm like,
sorry.
Sorry.
That better? I forgot I even had him on.
This brother is cool in action.
Yeah, you know.
Cool in action.
He is crazy. So, yeah, we want to thank our sponsor, The Money Store. For all your mortgage needs, give branch manager Cora Holbrook a call at area code 508-345-4726. That's 508-345-4726. I know we didn't do this in our 7 o'clock hour because we kind of went out of reverse, but I want to say hearty good morning. He's on the line, and it's, well, to Brother T. Michael Thomas and the People's Academy, going into Mr. and Mrs. Harry Scales. Good morning, Brother Jamal, who is on the line as well. Brother Dicker, Brother Cliff. Good morning, Michelle. We hope you're doing well. And, you know, I know we didn't do it earlier.
Did we go back to Indiana?
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Brother Bridgeforth. I know he sent us a good morning already, brother. We didn't forget you.
So I was, not in studio, but did the pastor actually bless this podcast?
We did not.
You are keeping us in check today.
.tv, folks.
This is why
.tv.
I know, we need to fix that sign.
This is why you need to be on time. You know?
He's there to check us.
Keep these things in flow. You know, we're out of sync here. And if you want to be part of the conversation here this morning, the calling number is 617-282-0685, 617-282-0685. And Helen, I know there's a couple of things going on this morning. The fish fry.
Fish fry.
Yes.
Today.
We have today.
From 2 to 4 or 2 to 6?
Yep. Actually, today is actually from, I will give it to you in 1 sec. We have it. It is today, August 8th. 2026 from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mama Phyllis's Fish Fry fundraiser at 33 Norwell Street, Dorchester, Massachusetts. And 100% of the proceeds will go to Boston Praise Radio. So if you want to support the radio station, please go by 33 Norwell Street in Dorchester from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. They got a fish plate with sides for only $12. Shrimp plate with sides for only $15.
That's good.
Fish, shrimp, and lobster tail plate for only $25.
Only $25.
Only $25 for lobster tail, fish, and shrimp.
Wow.
And the sides are baked beans and corn on the cob. So please come enjoy a delicious seafood meal, fellowship with friends and neighbors.
And all I'm going to say is, you guys, besides the delicious seafood, you guys are supporting a very worthwhile organization, okay?
And then that support continues next Saturday.
Yep. And next Saturday, August 15th, 2026, from 12 to 5 p.m., right outside of the church here, 670 Washington Street in Dorchester, Mass. You're going to have live gospel music, live on-air broadcasting, so please don't miss it. Come out and support Boston Praise Radio and TV, and we're going to be broadcasting live next Saturday, August 15th, from 12 to 5 p.m.
And if they don't want to wait, they can Cash App how?
It's capital BPRTV. And that's at Cash App, capital $. Oh, that's right. Cash App, $BPRTV.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
And I'm sitting over here watching, just hearing all this.
We're coordinating.
And you guys are working well together. Have anyone given any thought to having a voter registration table at these events?
Wow. See?
We said that before. Voter registration
table. At every event. The fish fry.
Yeah, because I want to put something out. I got a call, or I should say my bride got a call from a friend of ours who was actually setting up a table at the Elmer Lewis Playhouse in the Park event on Tuesdays. So we went after we came back from Montego Bay. We went. She said we're going to go on Tuesday. So we went and buy some to support our friend. And I stood there and I saw all these beautiful people in very stages of age. You know, some just old as I am or older. And we were talking about the Playhouse in the Park back in the day. And I asked the question, where's the voter registration table? They were like, ooh. So we have to stop when we're putting these together.
That should be
that's one of the first.
That should be the first thing at the top of the list.
I remember a couple of weeks ago we mentioned that every organization, every event that we do, we need to get that.
I mean,
I'm sending you all a link right now.
And a huge event that's coming up is in a couple of weeks is Carnival, right?
Yes.
There's hundreds of thousands of people.
Yes.
Other people are doing this, by the way.
Yes.
Other communities are doing it.
Yes.
And keep in mind, I don't know how old this data is, but in Massachusetts, there are 680,000 eligible citizens of voting age are not registered to vote.
There you go.
That is a huge gap.
That would sway and change the entire political landscape.
Yeah.
We have to think about when we're actually organizing this. The voter registration table is going to be the first thing here. This is what we want to do. This is who's going to staff it. This is how we're going to get the information. And we're also going to have someone there who can actually educate folks on why it's important to vote and what role they play. I'm sorry, Helen.
No. I was going to say, you can pick up voter registration forms for free from your town or city clerk in multiple languages. You can also have a laptop or a tablet open, and people can register online at www.sec.state.ma.us/OVR.
Why don't you forward that link to me so that
because MAMLEO is a voter registration, and I know and we can't because normally all the officers are working Carnival, which is mandatory. But I'm going to see if I can get some of our retirees to sit out front of the building there and get folks registered. And I'll volunteer myself because
I'll volunteer.
Yeah.
And in terms of voter registration, in addition to, I would add on another note too, especially for, we know coming from, the law enforcement side, we tend to be plagued with, heart disease and other, afflictions and so forth. Health wise, we know it's not exactly the healthiest population, right? With all the stress and everything else. But I would also say voter registration, but also organ donor registration too. For all of your family members and everything else, it's like, I don't think there's been enough of a push too for organ donation.
Right.
I think we can help a lot of people, when the time comes.
Exactly. All right. So we're going to get back into this. We're talking about, how folks, politicians, not just the Presley family. And I totally agree with Dr. Bradley and Jamal's sentiments is that, they went through the proper process. But I guess my pushback, and not just within this, is
like
that
you said, it doesn't pass the smell test.
But it's not accessible to all of us.
No,
people are out here struggling, and they, this is what I'm saying is that
excuse me, how'd you get that
trickle
contract
down.
again? Exactly.
Look, I'm not a multimillionaire, but I still try to help the community. That right. So even though I'm not enriching myself and forgetting about, and I think that's the part that I feel like they get in there and there's such a disconnect with the people who they claim they're there to help. Because if you're paying that kind of money, what are you doing to help uplift the people in the community? As like I said, this would be a great project where you should have said tied into that okay, in this contract, we will bring in the People's Academy, right? And the people they've trained, but also this would be a good with some of that funding there, that part of that donation from these companies like Suffolk who are going to enrich themselves is to donate some of that money back to organizations such as People's Academy so that we can eventually have a black company that can be in position to build a courthouse and not just go there.
It's not just a company that's stationed in the neighborhood but doesn't hire anyone in the neighborhood.
Well, Cruise Construction, why didn't they get the contract, right?
Because Suffolk's right there in Roxbury, but I don't see anybody from Roxbury getting hired.
Let me say this: why couldn't in the RFP process that building an offshoot of a site for People's Academy be a part of the requirement?
Yeah, and the fact that you have the AG Andrea Campbell trying to quash the lawsuit as it is already tells you how questionable it is, right?
Yes.
If there is no legitimacy supposedly being a fever dream,
let the court decide.
Let it play out.
Yes.
Why not let it play out? Go through discovery. Find out. Hey, if they don't have a claim, then let it play out through court.
But my question would be, if the process has been adhered to, then why involve the court?
Great point.
And why would the AG be trying to help out former counselor friend there
So something,
right?
something
That's nothing. And then you add on top of that, especially, I know you said about, not punishment in perpetuity with Conan Harris, but at the same time, you also have to consider, like, with different things, like, where are the different conflicts of interest? And there are certain limits too. Like, we've had situations where you look at, even like back in the day, it's like, would you hire someone like Al Capone or whomever else to like build like certain construction projects?
Here's the thing.
There's certain sometimes, like,
if Congresswoman Presley
there,
was just still a city councilor here, I don't believe that, because we know it happened. She was a negative $12,500. Would that contract been awarded to them? The answer is no.
The question. And John the timing too. You look at the timing of his company that got awarded the contract. The revenues jumped up, supposedly, some reports say, around the same time she's in office.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's the same thing with the Trump family, right? How they're increased in their revenue. People are booking at the hotel. So I'm saying they're all profiting. No,
it is. But
those of us, this is what I'm saying. This is more about all of them, not just them, all of them, and why the little person isn't
not being heard.
Right.
Okay, well, it's again that is the thing that they say, access. You're purchasing access,
right?
Okay, and then so that's the point of, like, okay, these contracts are awarded, and then once they're awarded, again, we don't really see where the money's actually going, because again, that for $2 billion.
Well, no, so not even, it's not just $2 billion. It was a $600 million contract that was awarded on the front end. So somehow, supposedly the lowest bidder, but yet, why would you then need to award a $2 billion 40-year lease?
Here's the other thing, because construction is something that I do, right? And we're going to get back to our callers. That's $600. That is probably not the lowest bid, because if some of the contractors gave them an honest bid of it's going to be $800-900 million, that's probably what the cost is going to be, because you can always lowball, because then you get to submit the cost override, right? So tack on another 25% or better. That's a minimum. It's going to cost. I guarantee you that's not going to come in at cost at $600 million. They're going to be saying, "Oh, we need
the
more."
Foundation was there. This and this.
Right.
Oh, we found a problem.
So we know how to play this
in my
game.
eyes.
Right. I get you a low bid and being in the tax, because once it gets started, we gotta finish, right? And so we're gonna do that. So, T. Michael, back to you. Thank you guys for holding on during the break. I know this could have benefited with the program that you've been trying to get off the ground for quite some time, and it's been working, but not at the scale that it should be, because you've had to do it out of your home.
You there? Well, hold on 1 second, sir. We didn't hear you. Go ahead, respond.
Partner,
you got you.
a bank loan to build a building myself, but yet still the city and its electors are still trying to take the land away from us. They're trying to do it this month, September, next month.
How?
I'm saying, we went out, got the money to build a building ourselves, and the city is acting like the bank belongs to Al Capone. Is scrutinizing a bank.
So how does the community come back out to support you, T. Michael? Is there some sort of like vote going on? Is there like some sort of petition?
Right. Well, they need to reach out to their representative.
They're too busy enriching themselves. But go ahead.
It's simply, listen. Is the People's Academy a benefit to the community? The People's Academy address the wealth gap and income inequality. If yes, then go to your elected official on every level and tell them, do the right thing and the legal thing. Sit with us, address the documentation that we've been given to the mayor through different counselors, different individuals. Sit with us and address what we're asking, so we can move forward with the development. They're holding it up.
So they're holding up.
They're holding it up.
The city.
Yes.
The mayor's office.
The city.
Mayor Michelle Wu's office.
The mayor.
The mayor is holding up.
By refusing to meet with us and address the obstacles that's sitting in the way.
Hear that, people?
They're holding up our development money that we got ourselves, and they're holding it up by their little trickery and unlawful activity.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Jamal, want to get your take on this?
I mean, once again, unless people have, direct, evidence of illegalities,
No,
you know,
see,
it's
let me look. Go ahead, Jamal. I'm going to finish because I don't.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, like the major conflict of interest that came in the beginning was John Barrows working for the convention center.
Mm-hmm.
All right. People were also like, well, since when did they have a development company? Now, once again, what I was trying to say before, that lot in across from Boston Water and Sewer Commission, they had been designated to build that. That's one of those parcels in that Roxbury Strategic Master Plan under the RNC and all that I was talking about before. So right across there from Boston Water and Sewer, all those parking lots were supposed to be developed. The city awarded them the contract. Same thing. Same, questions and so on and so forth because of who they are. They're going to get that wherever they go for sure. But unless somebody can show where there was something, and, hey, it would be great, I guess, if 20 different people bid on the project or whatever, but they didn't.
About a dozen people bid. It was reported.
What happened?
It was reported about a dozen people bid.
No. See, we're not talking.
The final bids,
right?
The final bids
go ahead.
Came down
to
1 and 2 of 3 companies, and I believe the 2 and the 3 companies joined together for this lawsuit.
Right. So
that was the final.
So Jamal, I'm not saying they didn't do anything, that they did anything illegal here. What I'm saying is that this is about access. This is about other people having an opportunity, and how many of us who they claim they represent. And I'm not just talking about them that they're going to bring along in this, because you're right. We're glaring, as Dr. Bradley alluded to, the Trump family criminal enterprise is profiting from this. It doesn't make it right because all of them are enriching themselves, and it might not be illegal, but is it proper?
But not even that. But there may be something there because of the fact that you have one of the people that's on the committee that's awarding the contract is also part owner of the company that's receiving the contract.
Right. So
there's definitely a conflict of interest there.
There's definitely a conflict of interest there, right. And there's a reason why the plaintiffs have filed the lawsuit.
Yes.
There is no sense in we should just let it play out, and that's what discovery is for. That's what our judicial system is for.
Sure, go ahead, and we want to grab this other caller.
Okay. Those plots of land, right?
Pardon?
When Thomas Cedar died was alive. I don't know if you guys remember her. Tommy died, right? Worked for the state, etc. State by Black clergy, Thomas Delaware House, and all that good stuff. We went after those plots of land. Chuck Turner was still a counselor, and we were denied getting to those parcels across from where the new tropical foods and all along there.
Mm-hmm.
Way back then. Because where we are on Quincy and Warren, that was about our 14th or 15th attempt.
Wow.
If Chuck Turner was alive today and Judge Harris, they would tell you what I'm saying is true, and Tommy died. The money that it has cost, time and time again, that this is why I said, and I could prove it, it's a rig. The bid rigging is real.
Oh, sure it is.
Okay.
Period. Period. And I will prove it to anyone.
Well, I think you proved it already. The fact that you're able to get your own funding and they still will not allow you to go and continue to build. Wait a second. Now the bank is in question. Wait a second. Now my money's funny. Yeah. Like I want to build something. Well, we don't trust you. We don't trust your money. We don't trust your loans. What is going on here?
Yeah, it makes no sense. When you're here there to benefit the community for how long now?
Yeah. Well, listen.
Because over 20 years. Because I keep saying it. There is a war on black economics.
I will agree with that in the sense of part of our history is always being denied to us. And one of the things I discovered was one of the things that a lot of those black communities, self-sustaining communities they had their own banks. And you know how those banks were formed originally? Through their churches.
Here.
Through their churches.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And that's when they gave each other loans and stuff like that. The credit union came about from the black church. Mm-hmm. Okay. Especially in the South. And that's how they were able to build their communities. So the idea that they can stop us from funding, like the fact that he found funding and they still said no, to me, that tells me.
I'm sorry, but the sad thing is they're using black individuals as their face to create the problem.
We've seen that before, where they try to use it as cover, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like we've seen it. I've seen it in the Chinese community too, right? There's a reason why historically we've had so many so many Chinatowns actually burnt to the ground, because when they become self-sustaining, self-sufficient communities, very similar cultural history, right? They get literally like either burnt to the ground or just like dismantled in some way, shape, or form, being eyed as like, oh, is it some sort of like, questionable behavior going on there?
Let's grab this other call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the round table.
Hi, how are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
And you are?
Great. I wanted to comment on what you said about what can be done.
You're breaking in and out. Yes.
Pretty bad.
My phone, I think. Better now?
It's still a little crackly, but go ahead. We'll try to get to hear what you're saying.
Another phone. Call back in on the other phone.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you. T, before we let you go, Senator Collins is going to try to call in at the bottom of the hour. Like I said, I'm not in disagreement with Jamal that they went through the process. I'm just saying is that we know that not everyone has access to this process, because again, I would have felt better had they gone to someone like Cruise Construction instead of Suffolk, right? And they say, well, they don't have the capacity. Well, how do you build a capacity if you don't get the opportunity to get these projects where you can then have the infrastructure and the financial means to support that type of thing? And that's why I was, reason why you don't get the contract. Well, but the funny thing is, like, it is, but also it's like, okay, does Suffolk own all the pieces of equipment that they have? No, they rent some of it, and they subcontract out.
Exactly. So why couldn't Cruise?
Larry, there is a way. Just like when we did the project on the State House, it was Suffolk and NER. They can do joint ventures and give crews and programs and companies like that a percentage of the bid. They do it all the time.
Yeah.
Huge competitors, fierce competitors, they do joint ventures and they chop up the work.
Yeah.
Well, they do it if they wanted to.
The state is being nice to you today. They're allowing you to keep 6.25% of your tax-free weekend. So you,
as long as you don't spend over $2,500. As long as you don't spend over $2,500.
Right, under $2,500.
But the verified court complaint also says that part of the complaint is saying that they're saying that they failed to comply with the request for bids.
But I'm going to say it's not the state, because in honor of it being my birthday, I always do this for you all.
Happy birthday!
No, it's next week. I always do it, around this time. So this is my present to all of the taxpayers in the state of Massachusetts: is give you a tax break in the month of August for my birthday. So this is my gift to you all.
It's because of you, Larry.
It's because of me. My gift to you.
So Larry, it's funny. Whenever I look up Larry Ellison, I think it's hilarious.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to fix this now.
Yeah, to see if I'm related somehow.
You can get a visit to Lanai.
T. Michael, thank you, sir. Any final words before we?
Yes, please reach out, get us a meeting with the mayor so we can move forward and build this school. I'm a huge supporter of Senator Nick Collins to be reelected. Great show, and I will be listening.
All right, thank you, T. Appreciate it.
And then it was Pam that was trying to call in.
Yeah, Pam King. Good morning, Miss King. Are you there?
Hi.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here. Is this better?
That's much better.
Much better. Yes.
Much better. Great. Well, I wanted to. Yes, I wanted to comment on what T. Michael was saying in terms of the attempts to take the land back. Right now, they have the city has not given him the legal papers that would tell him since 2020 what they were supposed to do in order to move on to getting a deed on the property. So that's a willful withholding of information, and we hope to be able to prove that. At this point, I think it's very important to educate the public and to let them know what the rules and regulations are for getting that land. And the most important thing is for the number of years, I guess it's been 10 years since Old Road in Ellington was illegally taken from the People's Academy. They could have in 2 years.
They haven't taken that land back.
No, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ms. King, would the neighborhood council be able to have any impact or say or be able to help T. Michael in this kind of situation? Since it does, would anything fall within the scope of Article 50 of
It's a good
BRA?
point.
Well, I think Karen Bunch, your previous caller, would have that information. That would be very helpful to see what the existing council could do about it at this point. That would be wonderful.
So what are you recommending people do at this point? Because it sounds like there's a fight going on between the city and the People's Academy and keeping that land in the People's Academy's column. What can people do to help?
Well, right now, I think that if we can get this message out and let people know how important and how much money the black community or underserved community has lost by them holding up holding up the building of that building since Old Road in Ellington. Right now, there would have been 50 people trained every 2 years that would go into jobs that would
they could have been helping Congresswoman. They could have been helping Congresswoman Presley and her crew to help build that courthouse out there, right? But this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. You know, I'm just calling balls and strikes, right? Because this is why also when you talk about importance of this is why we're pushing the funding for this radio station, not to serve us, but so we can discuss these type of things, not just on Saturday morning, right? So this is why I say we really have to repair that and get that going, get this station funded. Then we can continue to put the pressure, because I'm telling you, that has an effect. It's like when we talk here, people call, hey, you know, reach out, they're here, but we can't just wait till next Saturday to talk about something that is important as what we're discussing this morning.
Exactly.
Because that's the time we're allotted here, Saturday morning. This type of conversation should be taking place every single day.
Well, I have a text message that I sent to you about a meeting today at 2:00, a call on a strategy call, conference call, and it is about how we can get enough viewership to get sponsors, businesses that would pay for advertising, because the viewership has gone up so much. It's a company that specializes in getting businesses' message to go viral. And so that's at 2:00 today. Right. I think I sent you a text message.
I saw something. Mine has 7:00. So if you could send me the updated one, I definitely will be on the call.
These are two different meetings.
Okay. I don't think I have that one. I have one for 7 p.m. But yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Check your text message. It's at 2:00.
All right.
Yeah, okay. But media is the answer, and we have to educate the public in terms of what the laws were for T. Michael. By this time, he could have trained, I think, 50 people every 2 years. So it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
So that's almost 200 people that would be making $68,000 on entry. And then about 5 years, they would be making $100,000.
Right.
That's how much Coppersmith, in terms of restoration of all these buildings with copper would make. And I think the money part of it,
we talked about that. You know, we're building the courthouse, right? They're saying it's needed, but when we look at it, we were talking about it's almost $200,000 a year to house someone in prison, and the program is nowhere near that cost.
Yeah, exactly. It's $30,000 to $70,000 to educate someone.
We don't bat an eye at spending $2 billion.
Investment, but yet the prison, it's like a lost cause.
It's in the net. There's no benefit. No one profits from that other than the vendors and
it also makes you question, why is the city installing so much of what T. Michael's trying to do?
Because it offers independence. It offers independence. That's it.
Yes, and it's pure racism. And when I say racism, I don't mean just white people. I mean black people too. Jealousy and envy in the elected officials black officials who have not supported this. And basically, we have to get the word out.
Yeah.
We need to be able to get a message out about high-paying jobs and how the Office of Workforce Development has been training people to be hospital workers and CNAs and restaurant workers and everything, but not high-paying jobs.
Okay.
And we have to come up with a message that will make the public, period, come out to vote for what's right and come out the way they came out to vote for Barack Obama.
Right.
You know, what is the message that we can get out there that can galvanize people, not just black, but people who want to do right.
People like-minded individuals. That's what we need. Speaking of like-minded,
exactly.
Dr. Bradley's going to weigh in.
I have a series of questions that I want to actually put together in my mind to steer you to exactly why we're experiencing what we're experiencing.
Okay.
My first question is who is the population that what is the population I should say that T. Michael is servicing?
Returning people of color, people returning citizens.
Okay,
but you only need to be someone who's 18 years or older to join his program.
That's not my hit. Stay with me. So we got that. Who's the population that's actually in our prison system?
The people he's trying to serve.
Yes.
Population he's trying to serve.
Now, as police officers, did you find that people who are making $80,000 or more were actually committing crime?
I never booked one making that kind of money.
So if I am sitting in the criminal justice system, running a section of the system that serves as the new plantation, why would I want
to give your actual,
get rid of your customers?
Why would I want
get rid of your customers?
Hold up, guys. Hold up. You're killing me here.
Okay.
Why would I want you to educate the people that I was eventually use to actually provide free, reduced labor for a system that was originally created
to exploit that free labor?
But I think to add to that, also they're profiting because a lot of prisons have been privatized, and even the things that come into the prison are not generated by the state.
Well, I guess unless you marry, Congresswoman Ayanna Presley, there you don't really get a break.
So but my point here is this: if we really want to change this, we got to look at the real issue. The real issue is how our system of incarceration, how our criminal justice system, actually under the umbrella of justice, is used to keep a certain segment of our society in a position where they cannot produce for themselves.
Absolutely.
That's the real issue.
Absolutely. Ms. King, thank you so much. We're going to grab this call from the Senator Collins. He's going to, Jamal, stand by, Jamal. Are you still there with us?
No, I'll bounce out.
Okay.
Let me leave you with this.
Okay.
One, Benjamin Franklin Institute just opened up down Nubian Square. Bright, shiny, multi-million-dollar institution. They're already in danger because there's no enrollment.
Wow.
Okay. So we just got to think more careful about all these things. But I'm just going to tune off and listen to Senator Collins.
All right. Thank you. Feel free to call back in. Ms. King, thank you for your actually, unless you had a comment or question for the senator.
No, I basically thank him for all the work he's done to try and support the People's Academy and people getting jobs. Just thank him.
All right. Thank you, Ms. King. Senator Nick Collins, I always get it. Is it First Suffolk?
Yes, sir. That's the First Suffolk.
First Suffolk. I know. It's always number one. First Suffolk. Senator Collins from the First Suffolk is taking a few minutes to call. I know he couldn't be in studio. Senator, I know you've been listening. A lot going on. I know you say like it's tax free, but people need relief more than just the weekend. Everything is just spiraling out of control. And I know you've been trying to do some things down at the State House to alleviate some of this, the burden on people here in the city of Boston, which you represent. But in a lot of it has to do with the property taxes have gone up almost 30% over the last 2 years. I know I've seen an increase on just one tax bill of mine went from $1,300 to almost $2,000. That's just on one. I mean, and people can't afford that. People say, well, the homeowners, the landlords, if you have a multifamily, you can only pass so much cost on. But a lot of these are people who have a single family home, so they have no one to pass it on to. And I know you've been proposing some legislation to alleviate some of that pressure. One, if you can talk a little bit about that. And I think that's a big reason why you now, not saying no one should have a opponent, but now you're under attack because you want to hold the people accountable at the city level here as to how they're taking funds from taxpayers.
Absolutely. No, thanks very much. So let's first start off with this weekend is the sales tax free holiday. So the state, we have suspended the sales tax for the weekend. So anybody making a purchase under $2,500 or more. It's tax free. So
except for cars.
Make that purchase.
Except for cars.
You know, waiting to make that purchase or something. Please get out there this week.
Yeah, stock up.
Your local retail. But I wanted to also thank you all for continuing to have this forum of independent news, and it's incredibly valuable to the community, but also holding public officials like myself and others accountable. But when it comes to the issues around taxes and just fairness in general, we passed legislation in this recent economic development bill that focused on tax relief, property tax relief, statewide, but particularly for Bostonians, along with funding the study to the MBTA to make sure that we're looking at rail access that Councilor Culpepper and Councilor Worrell have called for, and community leaders on Blue Hill Ave. While the controversial plan for Blue Hill Ave continues to be debated, that we kind of lost time over the last 20 years and need to make up for it to plan rail access down Blue Hill Ave so the people in the communities of Dorchester, Roxbury, and Mattapan get the same access that other parts of the city do. And it's electric rail that is much better for the environment. So something that we also put forward, I want people to know about at the request of the community in this economic development bill. But we went back at it on the tax issue. We passed legislation that would increase the senior property tax exemption from $500 to $1,500, increase the personal property tax exemption, triple that, and authorize cities and towns to issue rebates. What we found while the city was, beginning their campaign of misdirection about their out-of-control spending and their tax increases, that the city was promoting they had $552 million in taxpayer surplus when they had $1.7 billion
in a rainy day fund. Wow.
Gaining interest while people were getting their taxes increased. So, that was a big eye-opener and made it clear that we needed to push this. Now, what we passed ended up being 3/4 of the mayor's home rule petition, just not the tax increase component that failed to be useful 20 years ago when Mayor Menino tried it. So it's like in science, when you have an experiment that fails, you don't continue the same experiment. You modify the experiment.
I think they call it insanity, Senator, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's another way to look at it. But also, this real issue around taxes and tax increases and the disproportionate burden that middle-class homeowners are feeling, we identified too. As you remember, when the debate began a couple of years ago, when the city began this debate and campaign of misdirection, I called for data to be released about what the city was submitting to the state around home value assessments.
Yeah.
That they determine unilaterally themselves.
So
not a vote of the council.
Right, Senator. Can I jump in because something you just said really has me. So, first of all, I want to say thank you for what you're doing, and also, and the reason why I said it is because one of our callers called in last week, and they were listening to you, and you were talking about filling out the form, and they did do what you suggested they do, and they did get their taxes lowered because they were entitled to do so. But also, why can't the state and can the state pass something similar to, if the state collects too much of your money, then that money has to go back? Because if you're saying that the city has $1.2 billion and they report they only had 500, why doesn't that money go back? How do they get to hold on to your money?
So there's a law at the state level that says if the state collects more revenue than a certain cap, it has to get returned to the taxpayers, like it happened in 2022.
Right.
And rebates were sent back.
Right.
So this legislation that we passed in the Senate unanimously would authorize the cities and towns to do that, but they still have to implement that. So they have the authority at the local level.
So the city and town has to.
So it's still up to them. Why can't the state put something in the law that automatically triggers that, just like they do at the state level? Because you think the city's ever going to give back any money that they take it from you?
Well, because we do leave the cities and towns the authority to govern their own budgets and spending. Because if the state was in charge of that for every 351 cities and towns, it would be crazy. So
no, I get that.
People have elections.
No, I get that, Senator. But I'm saying is that why can't there be like a default trigger like it does for the state? you know, like if they're collecting.
Well, because
I think he's saying because each city and town you'd have to
vote for. What we're able to do, what this legislation will do, was authorize that type of spending or that type of rebate.
Yeah.
But the cities and towns, because they do year-to-year budgets as well, and the year-to-year revenue gathering, that has to sort of be done at the local level. But that's not to say the city council can't pass something.
Yeah, so City of Boston voting residents could we like do like a question ballot?
You could also do that on a ballot.
Okay,
so that'd be a way to do it.
Yeah,
so
we should start that. We should start that ballot.
But I do have a question, Senator Collins. With the significant increase in real estate taxes for property owners and residents and so forth, has anyone been tracking how that's impacted in terms of like tax liens that have increased, people that are at risk of foreclosure or losing their homes because of this increase in taxes? Is anyone looking at the impact there, and what neighborhoods are being predominantly impacted?
And also to add to Helen, is that the what you guys voted on, when does that go into effect? Because I know people are hurting now. How long does it take before that law is enacted?
It's before the conference committee right now.
Okay.
The House,
so it hasn't been approved officially.
It has get approved with the House side as well, and then, but we anticipated passing this session. But again, you know, some of the stuff the city would still have to adopt, so the pressure needs to get put on the city to do that. And they've been hesitant. They've been sort of in this misdirection game. But to the previous question, we've identified through our own analysis and third-party analysis that the disproportionate impacts are significant. So the communities of, you know, parts of South Boston, South End, Dorchester, Roxbury, Mattapan, Hyde Park, Rosendale have been feeling it disproportionately, meaning they're getting their assessments increased up to the maximum and more in some cases, while Back Bay and Beacon Hill are under-assessed significantly, which is an essential tax cut. Let me give you an example. A home in Rosendale last year sold at $430,000. Months later, the city assesses it at $480,000. And then in Back Bay, Beacon Hill, you get homes at $20 million that are being assessed at 5 and 10. So what that means is that everyone pays the same tax rate, but the value assessed on your home unilaterally by the city is what that rate gets put onto for your tax bill. So if you're got a $20 million home and you're getting your tax assessed
at $5 million, that's a significant saving.
And you're in Dorchester and you have a $750,000 home that's being taxed at $800,000 or even $750,000, you're paying a higher percentage burden than the wealthy downtown.
And it's fair. And it's fair to say that the person buying a $20 million home can more likely afford to pay the taxes compared to someone that's paying a $400,000 home. Right?
Think about that math equation. The burden that you would be putting fairly on 5,000 people downtown equates to the burden you've shifted to 30,000 people.
Wow.
In middle class Boston, like totally unfair. In addition to that, we see that there's a class action lawsuit going forward that the judge just issued to move forward against the city, where they're going to have to pay a hefty fee on this same practice done to certain commercial properties. Now, in 1979, a similar case took place called the Traeger case, Tregor, that turned into a class action where that same thing happened. The city was in such a bad situation, they had to pass legislation to float bonds to pay everybody back. Now, that case still lingers today. Anyone who's done anything at the Registry of Deeds knows there's a Traeger fee, it's called. That fee is basically back to back bonds to pay for that over the course of that period. So, you know, that's what we're staring at, and I expect a similar effort to be made for residential as it relates to a lawsuit, but we have put into legislation an extension for those abatement processes that you mentioned earlier, Larry, that give people the individual rights. But we also have put forth legislation to look at it as a system as a whole. Like, if you have the situation that Boston has, even if now, you know, so this really happened over the last 4 years, and you can see it if people can check out their home values on Boston Property Lookup, and you can see the escalating assessed values that didn't happen before like that. It was incremental. The other thing that people could consider doing in Boston and statewide that I've heard about is to put a ballot initiative forward that you can't raise assessed values on people more than 2.5% year over year without authority, without approval.
I thought there was something like that already in place.
Well, that's in the aggregate. You can't raise property taxes in the aggregate 2.5, but on individual homes, because then you're protecting people who live in their homes, as Larry's talking about, people living in single family homes or duplexes that are not, it's a home. It's not, it's something that's getting renovated significantly or expanded or being sold. There's no purpose other than for people to live there, and that shouldn't be allowing people. If you can only raise taxes 2.5% in the aggregate year over year, why would you be able to raise home value assessments 10%?
Well, that's 5%? A good point, Senator Collins, because I think the class action lawsuit you mentioned, is that the one filed by Sullivan and Worcester and the Pioneer New England Legal Foundation?
Yes.
Where they were saying that the city was using, in the filing, they're saying that the city was alleging that the city used an add back policy to artificially inflate property valuations. So commercial owners that filed appeals for their tax assessment, the city then basically went back and artificially inflated the property valuation. So that's what they're alleging.
But if I'm not mistaken, commercial property taxes went down because they claimed that.
But my point being is that if they're doing that to commercial property, could they be doing that to residential properties as well, potentially,
sure.
Right? Is that something that we should probably look at to see people that are filing for those abatements, filing for reductions, are they getting the same up?
Oh, well, that's clear. And when you talk about the neighborhoods that we just described, that's exactly what happened. And the burden is also under the category of disproportionality, which is illegal as well. And on an individual level, people can appeal that, but it's a larger scale. And so I see the same issue, as you point out, as the commercial. And in the case of commercial, there were the commercial values in certain areas that went down. So even though the percentage is up and double the percentage of rental in terms of rate, the overall value drops dramatically. So
just looking at the whole picture, right?
That in a sense is accurate, Larry. But I think to your colleague's point that the pursuit of revenue instead of new growth, like at P3 or some of these other development opportunities that would add growing the tax base, they're trying to squeeze more blood from a stone. In the case of commercial and in the case of residential, unlawfully. And right now that's being tested in court on the commercial side. And we believe that should be doing the same situation with residential because it's actually far more people.
Right.
When you think about it, far more people who don't have the means
to fight it.
To fight it out the same way. And so that's why we're pushing legislation to hit reset on assessment departments. And, maybe some other cities and towns have faced this, but nothing as extraordinary as Boston. So, because now the city's in a situation where even if they wanted to correct that, even though they've been pursuing this for a number of years, correcting that in places like Beacon Hill and Back Bay, where you'd have to jack people up, way up, that's going to be challenged too. Like, hey, well, why didn't you do it before? Now you're going to add $15 million to my assessed value. Well, that should be accurate. It is accurate.
Right.
But
that's what you bought it for.
So now they have liability all over the place.
Yeah. So Senator Collins,
we're trying to pass legislation to try to limit that liability so they can hit reset and bring the burden back to where it should be, which is a shared one.
So, Senator Collins, if people wanted to go to your office for assistance, if they're experiencing something similar, where they can try to at least have you as a central point to even try to organize for a class action lawsuit on the residential side of things, what's a good phone number for your office for any of our listeners that know of someone in a situation, or maybe they themselves are in such a situation as a residential homeowner? What's a good phone number for them to reach out to your office for some assistance?
No problem. 617-722-1150. That's 617-722-1150. You can also email me at nick.collins@masenate.gov. That's NICK_COLLINS @masenate.gov.
And then the primaries are September 1st for your office as well, right? That's for statewide?
Yes. So statewide, with a primary election September 1st, people can vote on or before September 1st. Voter registration ends August 22nd. and you can start to vote in person early, August 22nd that week, as well as vote by mail options that people should have received information from the Secretary of State's office in the mail on how to do that, which they basically send that application received by the Secretary of State, William Francis Calvin, to the City Hall election department and let them know if they wanted to vote by mail, either in the primary, the general election in November, or both. Also, we can get on later on after the primary to talk about these ballot initiatives because there's quite a few. And people should know what those are all about.
Absolutely. We're going to have you in studio. So, Senator, maybe you can help us out. We were debating here because for the DA's race, which is Suffolk County, there were 3 candidates for that position. Because you had a debate the other night. Is that get narrowed down to, because some people are under the opinion that the primary is going to settle this race and there won't be a follow-up in November. Is this just to whittle them down to 2 candidates for the general election?
No, so it's basically the race. So municipal elections are nonpartisan, so they're called preliminary, and then finals. In the state elections, they have primary elections that are party-based. So this will be to settle the primary for who would represent the Democrats. But in this case, and most of the time in the city of Boston,
there's no
Republican. The Democratic primary is the race because there's usually not a Republican or a viable Republican at least, or a third party.
So if we're clear, whoever wins in September is the DA for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Do you think that there are any questions, Senator Collins, if you have any comment at all? But there have been some news reports with regards to how LaToya Gale, who's one of your challengers, has been heavily supported by Mayor Michelle Wu's office. Excuse me. Including having some of her staffers helping with LaToya Gale's campaign, as well as even providing, fundraising efforts and so forth. Is there any sort of conflict of interest there?
We've got about 2 minutes, so.
Sure. Well, the conflict of interest laws are clear that public employees can't do that on the clock, and public employees can't be involved in fundraising. So if that's happening, that's definitely in violation, no matter who the candidates are. So, under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 268A, that's the ethics law and conflict of interest law. That's pretty clear. So, if people have concerns about that, they should definitely let the State Ethics Commission know.
Good to know. Thank you.
All right. So you're on the ballot for the primary and the general, the 2 of you, or is it just in the general election?
So there's a couple of candidates in the primary, and then there's a Green Party candidate in the general.
Okay.
So a younger gentleman just come out of college.
Okay.
In the South End.
Okay. Wow. Senator Collins, thank you, sir. We got to, I know we have to reschedule. You can maybe come in a couple of weeks so we can have you in studio, but always thank you for bringing this informative information, enlightening issues, in my opinion, why people should keep you where you are, because you're being effective. And the fact that the mayor's office is coming after you says you're doing the job, because I've been in that seat before. Senator Nick Collins, 1st Suffolk District.
Well, thank you, Larry. Yeah. And as you know, I don't work for the mayor. I work for the people.
And it's true. It shows. It shows. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
And the deadline again, date for voter registration?
The date for voter registration is August 22nd.
August 22nd.
All right, and early voting starts that day. Thank you, Senator. Hope you and the family are well. We'll talk to you soon, sir.
Thank you all.
All right. So, again, before we go, today is tax-free weekend. Happy birthday on my behalf, my present to you.
Thank you.
Happy birthday in advance.
Yeah, the fish fry and fundraiser for Boston Praise Radio, Helen.
Yep. The fish fry is today
from 2 to 6, and what is it?
33 Norwell Street.
Norwell Street. Yes.
Yep.
So again, $12, $15, $25 plate is the best deal. That's the lobster tail, the shrimp, and the fish.
Remember that off the top of your
head. Believe you me, yes. I plan on supporting.
I'm pretty Saturday thinking about it. He's like, we know where he's going to be at 2 p.m.
And there's something
first and last.
Something happening here at the station today, Pastor Hobbs.
Next week.
Next week.
Next
The
week is the telethon.
The outdoor telethon.
Okay, the outdoor telethon.
And that's 2 to 5.
2 to 5
2 to
5.
at the
Next
station.
week, yeah.
So you can come by and make a donation.
But the station's on 24/7, folks. So stay tuned in and remember, you guys can support. Yeah, exactly. 24/7 Cash App $ BPR TV. Help support your voice.
Dr. Bradley, it's good to see you and Helen back, all rested and tanned up. So.
I was born with a tan, dog.
It's a natural tan.
Until man with the tan.
Until next week, we'll be back. Matter of fact, Suffolk County District Attorney Kevin Hayden will be our guest in our 8 o'clock hour next Saturday. So you want to tune in if you have any questions for the
district attorney.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And everyone, make sure check your voter registration card as well as your organ donor
And
card.
Dr. Bradley,
Until then,
he screwed it up last week, but good.
be blessed.
Elevated by the artists coming out in my midst. And the artists that paved the way when I didn't exist. Music's a skyscraper, I'm just trying to add a couple bricks. This is for the dreamers. They say I am a dreamer. Cause I still believe that anything is possible as long as you work hard. Hustle real hard, hustle real hard. Hustle real hard, hustle. So if I never see ya, never get the chance to meet ya. No, I came up from the bottom, always rooting for the unknown.